Oh, welcome to the first day in April, April Fools. And I don't know about you, but it's really catching up with me today. So welcome into the spring emergence of Good of the Whole and our Global Heart Resonance call this morning. So we're here to rejoice in those little buds that are coming out of the snow if you live in, have been living in winter. And just the sense of here, what's amazing was yesterday the gardenias bloomed and the night jasmine bloomed. And this effervescent, sensation of different smells were just filling the air like you'd be walking down the street. So we invite all of that into this call here this morning. And April Fools, this is no joke. And we want to have a lot of compassion for what's moving in the world because really so much is surfacing and there's so much need for resonance and this love, this love that offers that sense of belonging. So today we're coming in with June Steiner, our Good of the Whole Resonance Council mentor, and really to listen to nature as she emerges through us and as us, and us just really being in this rhythm of life. And I know it's a lot. I was thinking this morning a lot about the rivers cascading now, with so much snow, that source water is completely flowing. And in some respects, in some places, Nebraska, we're holding Julie and all of those people in Nebraska where there's just been so much flooding. So we as resonance mentors, really, because that's what we are, and when we come into this sense this morning, we're just going to start here with a few moments of deepening into the living waters of our being, of our collective consciousness here. So as we're just settling into our bodies, we're really releasing the old winter tides, thoughts, obscurations, obstacles, just letting them go and giving them to this change and force of nature that's moving throughout the microbial network. So just imagine that your feet this morning are these deep roots going down into the mother, into her crystalline core, into the central sun within the earth itself, really warming our toes, warming as we're breathing up and filling that sacred chamber of the heart here this morning. And that beautiful release of energy, that exchange of atmospheric air. We become very aware of all that's moving on the planet, all relations, the relationship of the trees to the water, the trees to the cosmos, the stone beings and cetaceans, dolphins, all those beautiful winged ones that are migrating back to their breeding grounds. We are that. And as we're here this morning, we're just really tapping into that rhythm of life, the breath of life. And our breath and our expressions here, as Good of the Whole planetary stewards, is just breathing that sense of goodness, of goodwill, of love, of compassion, of creativity into the field. This is beautiful, reciprocal energy moving, this divine design of life, that we are whole beings contributing to the greater whole. And with that, just taking another breath of gratitude for our collective here and how we're showing up without judgment. Just bring ourselves fully present into this moment. Welcome everyone who's just gotten on. Welcome to our Monday morning Global Heart Resonance. Just remember that if you've come on a few minutes late, then the default is on mute. So you'll have to unmute yourself when you're wanting to share. See your beautiful faces here. So with that, pretty much you know the guidelines, all of you that are here, just keeping it 1 to 2 minutes and really acknowledging and taking a pause in between each and every share, listening to what's moving, being threaded into this fabric of consciousness. So noting if you're thinking about something that you've wanting to say or in the past, just being willing, just as winter allows that spring to come, allowing that sense of this unified field to speak through us and as us. And with that, I'm going to pass this beautiful crystalline Kuan Yin on a dragon. Over to you, June.
All righty. Well, this morning, our topic is let nature teach us a new way of being as we practice emergence within our own inner nature. And there was a beautiful article by Adrienne Marie Brown. And a quote by Micah Frazier: if we are in rhythm with nature, we are in rhythm with ourselves. Pay close attention and experience the wonder that emerges from the beauty, magic, miracles, and patterns of nature all around us. The world is full of emergence, wowing us with the nature of transformation that comes from movements intentionally practiced within oneself and with others. Trust, cooperation, coordination, intention, and rhythm are some of the patterns that help us emerge into blossoming. As we observe nature, we see the collective ability to channel and receive nutrients where needed and how to expand our roots into growth. Glaciers and rivers show us how change happens. What seems like no movement could be changing the face of the earth or ourselves. Seasons help us organize time and pace and to appreciate how those conditions give us the freedom to flex different abilities and behaviors. From nature, we learn to attend to our inner and outer gardens. The earth has the greatest capacity to hold what seems impossible. What's emerging within your nature, and what new patterns or interactions are you practicing today? And so we can open to talking about those questions, talking about how nature is a reflection. Outer nature is always a reflection of our inner nature. So I pass this talking stick on to whoever would like to join in on this conversation.
Good morning. This is Sharon. I'll jump in. Spring all around. So nature abounds, and nature is springing here on the East Coast in New Jersey. And the birds are singing in the mornings, which is so nice. And we had a beautiful day here this weekend to be outside a lot, and that was great. And I'm reading a book right now done by an artist and who is also a wildlife rehab person and knows how to handle birds. And she took the baby birds out of the nest every day and documented by drawing them their growth and change. So little songbirds are born naked and with nothing. Their eyes are closed and so forth. And 12 days later, they fledge and they fly off. And it's like no one has actually ever documented this amazing amount of change that occurs during that time. And so I'm kind of in awe of all that. And what's been emerging in me to reflect on that question of new patterns and what's emerging in me really seems to be just a deeper level of letting go and trusting that the emergence occurs. It's that surrender. It's surrendering to self and letting and giving. It's like it feels like spring is just giving of itself to be. So I'm not sure that's perfectly articulate, but that's the feeling. Pass the feather.
Good morning, everyone. This is Michelle from Minneapolis, and following that thread of trusting the reemergence, which is the ideal, which I often struggle with. And I just spent a week in the desert, not literally in the desert. I was in a air-conditioned home, but I spent time out amongst nature in the desert, and they had the super bloom going on in the area, which they said typically is only once every 10 years, and it's actually happened 2 years in a row now, and it was extraordinary. And one of my huge fantasies and dreams to be in a field of flower. And when I was there, I started thinking about the emergence of these flowers and how they come about and how they emerge. And as we're talking here today, it brings me even deeper into the process I was having, because I don't believe that those seedlings that are dehydrated in the ground are anxiously awaiting the arrival of being bloomed. They just trust that one day they will re-emerge again. And I spend a lot of time wondering if I will ever re-emerge. And I feel like I've been a little bit over the last periodically throughout my life in the desert, wondering if my seed that I planted will ever be watered, and often feeling like it's never being watered. And then years pass and I can look back and it was being watered the whole time, and the flower comes to fruition in spite of myself. So I love this, and this whole re-emerging thought process about the trusting. What's really rising for me is just the trusting that although the process isn't typically how we might want it to unfold and evolve, it often comes to a place that surprises us, and we have these beautiful blooms that we actually never really expected. And as I'm waiting for the beautiful bloom, that I'm feeling its presence almost shining, and coming off the desert and this conversation, it's just really exciting once again to remember the trusting aspect of that whole re-emergence in self as it is in nature. And with that, I'm complete.
This is June from California, and as I listened, I really began to see pictures inside of myself of what happens when I emerge from sleep into nature, and how it heals and opens me to beginning again. It's as if each day as I get up and I walk into my kitchen, which is an open area to my yard and to nature, and I can see mountains and trees, flowers, bushes. I can feel my heart open. I can feel not only my heart open, but I can feel my excitement to be alive, to appreciate, open up. And so, when I think about that, and I think about the days that it rains, it opens up entirely differently. It's as if I'm walking into a enclosed but womb-like place where I get to welcome life just from a deeper, less bright and open place to a place where I get to go inside and really ask what's going on. And I find all through the year that as the seasons change, as the weather is different here, I emerge each day differently into life. And what I really want to do is to use that in a very conscious way, not only just let it happen to me because what's happening out in the weather and what I see, but to really open myself to what's there, to be called into that place of checking in to my heart and to my my being as to whether or not I'm up for the question of the day. Am I up for what Mother Earth and nature is out picturing me in the day? And as was said before, that whole idea of trusting that whatever happens to us will happen again at a higher level, even if we think it might not ever happen or happen at that exciting or big a level, or at the level of the goal that we placed. As the years go by, I get to see that it's just this constant spiral of happening again and again, and I get to see that each time it happens, I'm a little more able to open to it, to build on it, and to trust that is real and who I am and where I am going. So this subject is a dear one to my life, and I am complete. I pass the talking stick.
This is Henry, and I want to pick up the thread here. So what we are creating here, that I'm sensing and feeling with all the shirrings, is we are creating a womb-like space. And it kind of relates to what was shared many months ago here of a quote that was attributed to Thoreau. He expressed that investigation does not necessarily lead to wisdom. Wisdom comes from beholding. And here I really feel like we are creating that space of beholding with the trust, with the opening to that knowing that what is within us, what is being reflected with what we're creating, the space for the new seeing is able to emerge. We're here, maybe perhaps even like the bird watchers, kind of bringing in Sharon's, that we're just opening to the wonder that is potential in each moment, but especially in this season. I'm also getting a kind of a hit of what children bring. The newness that I really connect with the spring season as well. And the delight that a child is able to notice in nature or in a bug or in any little things that we lose sight of. But so anyway, I've spoken enough, and I put the talking feather or stick into the center.
Good morning to all. Nahid from Boulder. I am the child. I am all of it. And as I am receiving what is being offered in the field, I wonder what I'm experiencing. Is it only mine? Do you have this kind of experiences to be torn apart from the core of your being is like a blade of grass is coming out, shooting out to be seen in a different way from that dormant state? Am I the one who is losing it? It's happening. It's so frequently. Is like the beloved in every second moments wants to show its face, express itself in a different way. And I have no clue where it's taking me. And I was feeling yesterday so alone. I rarely experience this. So I went for a walk to the trail. And as I was touching the new buds, just hardly, just coming out, because still it's cold in Boulder. And feeling what I was experiencing, it was the same thing. I was being torn from inside, exactly like that. Say, oh, you too. And as I was in tears, I was asking, I don't know, begging, yeah, or sharing, I don't know what. So I am regerminating exactly as you are. And it is hard. And it's so real when it happens in that moment. It's like you don't recall that it could be different in any moment again. It's like there is all that it has been and all there it is until it shows differently again. And for me, that beholding is that intimate relationship with that which is re-emerging and the full presence to that. It is hard. It is hard, and it's celebratory again. And I get to share that in this space that is like, it is like a wine, sharing it. It's that remembrance. It's like it brings me to more life again from that dead state. I am complete, and I give to talking state to the center.
Good morning, everyone. John, nearby mates with Nahid in Boulder. What is nature? I asked myself it, and it's great, Shelley, that you send out a message about what this is about. It gave me an opportunity to write down a few things and really go over nature. And someone was mentioning trusting nature, which I think is a big one. But I started feeling as though nature is what's natural. And what's natural from the very beginning is, in fact, the in-breath and the out-breath of the cosmos itself. Everything moving outward from, we'll call it the Big Bang, informing everything. And then it comes around and comes back on itself for trillions, billions of years. That out-breath and the in-breath is nature. And everything emanating from that and coming back on itself through the life and death process, we are now in the season of life, is a natural phenomenon. And it is, in fact, the resonant field. Again, I feel so grateful to be in a group that resonates and feels that vibration of nature itself and is able to see everything and feel everything that is of that natural plan. You know, it's like the ocean waves coming in and lapping against the shore, and then they go back out again. That's nature. It happens effortlessly because it's in resonance. And the birds singing their mating calls, every year it happens as they migrate and come back. It's nature. It's the natural in-breath and out-breath of the phenomenon that we are in, which is the resonant field. The little baby turtles that seem to come up from their sand graves and all scamper toward the life-giving force of the ocean. Every year it happens. It's nature. It's a natural phenomenon. And then we bring it into I bring it into myself, speak for myself. When I breathe in, I'm breathing in that resonant field, that natural nature state informing me. And with my out breath, I offer that back out and back into the whole, which is when I'm unencumbered, part of the resonant field. And I trust that. My heart trusts that. Sometimes my mind gets in the way and says, well, wait, what about this? What about that? What that leads to is a lot of times very unnatural processes. When I relax and go back into my heart space, I have complete trust in the nature of things. And I feel that vibration throughout my body. I'm able to offer that out to my friends and to others, and to expand that natural process. Spring is the birth, and I find what I want to be born in me is more of the same, more gratitude, more loving, more openness, more inclusiveness, all emanating out of that nature, natural, resonant field that we all share. Thank you. I'll pass.
The phrase that's coming to me is nature's resonance, and just pulling all those, like just this beautiful spider web of luminescent threads of beauty that we are. This nature's resonance is really the experience of wholeness, moving as one living system, a whole living system that is in balance, that there is no separation, that when my heart expands, or when the heart field expands, it encompasses all of us. And just bathing in that experience as I listen to each one. It's the most spectacular. And I think I know that I see it when I'm walking, when I slow down and I am looking at the different flowers, or I am noticing cracks in the earth, you know, whatever that is, or I'm noticing another person's even behavior and don't feel like I have to change them. I wait. I'm learning that's the practice for me of being attuned with nature's resonance and my own nature. This incredible thing happened last night, which really speaks to what we're sharing. And my daughter, who never calls me on WhatsApp, called me with a video screaming, "You have to watch this." And it's just a perfect example. She was in her backyard, and the back wall is wooden, but there are these overhanging, what look pretty much like weeds, big leaves that just kind of take over the whole back of the fence. But last night at sunset, something incredible was happening, and she had never had been in a place of presence to catch this. And I will post this. She had her camera up at this group of leaves and these little buds, And you could actually watch. They were morning glories, but they were opening in the evening, so who knows what's going on. And within 30 seconds, it started out as a bud, and then you could watch it unfurl, and all of a sudden it went pop into its full flowering head, one after another. And you could hear my grandson, who is one of those little computer iPad geeks who never lifts his head, is in complete amazement at nature's resonance. And one after the other, it was like giving her the gift of life. And I feel that that's the gift that we're being given each and every moment. And here as a collective, you know, we get to watch this effervescent essence pop in its right timing, right? And some faster than others. And some have snow to get up, and some have crusty earth, or some have floods that keep, you know, it's just an interesting unfolding. So I just feel really blessed to be in the awareness of we as blossoming benevolent beings that we are, just popping, opening in right timing, and different aspects of our life are just blossoming as one unified movement. So with that, I love you all. I'm going to be on for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go, and June's going to continue this call. I love you so much, and thank you for expressing and embracing the truth of who you are in trust. I'm complete.
This is Dinah. The frequency of our communion is so present in our heart and in our whole being. The wholeness we are is here, having a conversation, and also hearing Gaia conversing with us and celebrating that we are listening, that we have regained collective communion with her, and that we are consciously healing her, us, the whole. And the word behold rings a deep bell, in that when I moved to Oregon in 1980, it was to be part of a Melchizedek community of light. I never even heard of Melchizedek, but there I was in this place. And we had the practice of saying, I behold you, as an affirmation of, I see you are the light. You are a being of light. And that's what that term meant. So as it was spoken this morning, it felt a full circle of understanding and reconnection in consciousness in this collective of our wholeness and our light. I'm complete.
Good morning, all. This is Kate in South Dakota, and I just feel like on the heels of that, I have to pick a feather on the topic. I've been in so many circles with Denama over the years that have always been focused on Big Mama herself, you know, kind of climb trees with this gal and realize how much she has to offer in her experience, because she has lived in the Melchizedek community, just the very experience. And then, but not to discount, I mean, I realize we all have our own amazing stories and experiences to share. But I guess I feel so nurtured when I come to this call. It's one of the most valuable hours of my week, I feel, as I get to listen to all of you express in your different ways. I mean, because I'm never speechless. And as soon as Sharon picked up the feather, I was ready, because, you know, I've heard birds here for the first time in just this last week. So I kind of think of Sharon when I think about the birds, and then how she's so, you know, this discovery of this lifespan of the 12 days. I mean, I'm just in awe of always, and just the expressions of everyone. And how, you know, Shelley just kind of expressed the blooming of a human. And anyway, I just I hang on the words of all of you, because there's so much. You know, I mean, I write these things down, surrendering to yourself. And it was something that when John was speaking, I was on a call yesterday, another lady that I met, where I met Shelley, as a gal named Nina, and she does this meditation on Sunday mornings that I like to attend. And she used, we were really on this, our conversation was around compassion. And, you know, I don't know, I'm always fascinated by this word of love, how love, you know, is supposed to describe so many things, and there's so many different types of love, and how compassion is on that highest. Anyway, we were in this conversation of compassion, so we were all, our thoughts, our frequency, if you will, our heart space, and, you know, all of our thoughts were aligned in this place of compassion, so we were just kind of, it felt like the love meter was off the scale. Anyway, she used this word. She said, the love ocean lapping on the shores of our heart. And that expression. So, as you know, I've written expressions down from all of you. Surrendering to self. And I mean, June, you just have a way of opening to everyone. Need, the beloved wants to express itself in a different way, and at the moment, I mean, I just think it's so wonderful how you're talking. And I guess why I felt that I wanted to pick up the feather is because I've long known that if I take care of Big Mama, she'll take care of me. And it's in fact what drives me, you know. It's a long story of how I used to work like 3 jobs, but then I thought it was the end of the world that I lost my job, but now I don't really work. And so I take care of Big Mama. That's what I do. What I'm supposed to plant and water and grow and transplant that day is always dictated by what is going on around me, the environment around me. So like this morning, red cabbage and what else did I? This morning, it was a different kind of pepper. I'm kind of a fan of peppers. Anyway, I started those seedlings, or, you know, pre-germinate, or just, and so I just feel like so often, and in fact, my favorite thing to do is just to play in the woods, you know, just to watch these things and see what birds are out there. And so, I don't know, I guess I love the conversation of how the natural world affects us. I'm a long-time worm caller, and I say I've been composting on many levels for a long time now. And I'm not really sure. It was something about Denama that I've long known that as we, and you know, now my experience with Denama goes back so many years that it's just fascinating how it builds over time and deepens, and just how you respect. It just kind of comes so easily and naturally. And thank you for listening to my words this morning. And Kuan Yin, I'll pass her on to whoever has another expression next. Thank you.
Hello, this is John in California. I trust that I'm unmuted. My experience has grown, of nature, has grown to include everything. And right now I'm driving, and I'm surrounded by nature. And I guess my feeling is that life in expression is everything. It is the wheel under my hand. It is the road on which I drive. The electrons in the wire. And the bird that sits upon the wire. It is the song that bird sings. And it is me. And for me, I'm living into embracing it all, and not just embracing. The thought came with a friend of mine and I. The phrase came, I love all your faces. All the faces of life in every expression. And that face is sometimes a stop sign, bright red, with white letters. Or it is this beautiful unfolding of the flower that was shared earlier. So can I be in presence as life unfolding of all of my manifestations as life, whether they've been manipulated by the hand of man, yet still thrive and thrill with the vibrations of the universe. And I've called myself to that presence. I love all your faces. Hallelujah. And I pass Kuan Yin back to the circle.
And we've come to that time now where all of those who have spoken, just to pause and hold the love in your heart, and to let anyone who hasn't yet spoken come forward and share with us, even if it's just a name and a hello, and that I'm here. So we'll allow those who haven't spoken to come forward.
This is Anita, and my internet is going in and out all the time. So I'm getting the energy as much as I can, and I'm loving it. And thank you all.
morning, everyone. This is Karen in Costa Rica. Just like to thank you, just presencing myself. This has been a wonderful call to listen to. I haven't had a lot coming through, little bits and pieces, but not much tied together. I really enjoyed listening to everyone. I'd love to be able to connect with more of you, but I'm not sure how, so maybe sometime someone can help me with that. I look forward to more days like this. Thank you.
If there's not anyone else to share, I'd like to read a beautiful poem that came with the article that we worked with today about nature. And it's a poem by Kashu. The question is, can I get bigger than myself? Not lose myself or let myself go, but become wide enough to contain all that is true. Resist the temptation to retract around what is right or makes me feel in control. Broaden my hips out wide like the valley. The earth holds all of this and doesn't feel responsible. Her water is moved by the moon. Her surface is warmed by the sun. And she doesn't fight the feeling or feel self-conscious. We have torn and prodded and blown her apart. She holds us still, without contempt. We kill each other and hate each other on her shores, and she witnesses and sends rain to cleanse. She doesn't question her existence. She just continues to be. And so for each of us, let's hope that we just continue to be recognizing the beauty of who we are and the life of us that emerges every day, every moment that we take a breath and open our hearts. And so now, maybe it's time for us to say goodbye and allow the yum from our hearts to come out with our voices into all of us. Yum. Yum, 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 yum.
Yum. Loving you all.
The Resident Council is going to be meeting after this about 15 minutes after. So, thank you.